morning. Welcome back to Mortgage Financing and Homebuyer Ready. I'm Jackie Abrams and I'm with Samson Properties.
And I'm Barbara Graham Proctor and I'm with Cardinal Financial.
It is a pleasure to be back with you today. As you know, last week we reviewed credit. And it was everything you'd ever want to know about credit. Wouldn't you say that, Barbara?
I think so.
Because we had to have 2 shows on credit.
We had to have 2 shows on credit to get through credit. And that was a lot. That was a lot.
That's right. So we hope that you got some good information on that, and that you're ready to move on to our new topic, which will be the pre-approval process.
Yes, we're going to get into that, Jackie, today on the pre-approval process. So if you get out your pens, your pencils, and your paper and write the pre-approval process, we're going to get you ready today on that process. So stay tuned, because when we come right back, we're going to start you on that process. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Right, Jackie?
Yes, we will.
Stay tuned.
There's one thing in life that will never change. Power. The power to be who you are. Unapologetic. Beautiful. Strong. Even when they don't know you, and they know you. Who are you? Kashala Karor.
Welcome back, and it is afternoon, so I'm going to say good afternoon this time. I do believe the last time, Barbara, I said good morning, but it is good afternoon.
Sometimes we forget what time of the day. Oh no, sometimes Jackie forgets what time of the day it is. Yeah, it's afternoon. It's okay.
That's because I'm working morning, noon, and night.
Now that is true.
To help my clients.
That is true. That is true. It's okay.
Sometimes, but I never get to an appointment late.
Hello. She is always on time. I will say that. She is always on time. I'm occasionally late.
Okay.
Just occasionally.
Occasionally.
But she is always on time. I will give her that.
Try. So for my clients, I get there. All right. So as we said, we're going to be talking about the pre-approval process today. And normally, as you may or may not know, the pre-approval process is usually about the lender. All about the lender getting the pre-approval done for the client. With the other lenders that I work with, that's pretty much how it is, Barbara. But Barbara and I have, developed this working relationship where Barbara has taught me a lot as a realtor. And to help the process from the very beginning, I actually have a little part in helping Barbara to get the client prepared for the pre-approval process.
Absolutely.
And so basically, when I meet a client first, the client, if I ask them, are they working with a loan officer or a lender, that term is usually used interchangeably, they will let me know whether or not they are. And so if they're not, I will tell them about the different loan officers that I work with. And I will sometimes give specialty areas, because some people definitely have specialty areas. And so once they make a decision on the one that they would like to choose, if it happens to be Barbara, then I will have a conversation with them about some specific things. And some of the specific things that I like to talk with them about is their credit score. We kind of talked about that a little bit over the last couple of weeks. And I asked them if they have ever looked at their credit scores. If they haven't, and I like to call them consumer credit scores, because it is a difference. Barbara talked about FICO versus the consumer scores in the last section or segment or so. And so if they are not familiar with their scores, I let them know that there are 3 scores, 3 bureaus, and I actually give them the websites to go on to look at their scores. And depending on where their scores are, then that lets me know they're ready to proceed. If they're not quite ready to proceed, then we have another thing that we do. But the ones who are ready to proceed, then we actually do that. So I get a little bit of information about their credit scores. Every once in a while, I'll say to them, if you're comfortable with giving me your income range, meaning not exactly, but a range, is it between this and this or this and this? So that also gives me some information. Every once in a while, Barbara, I run into someone who is not comfortable with sharing that kind of information with me.
Right.
And a little, not really funny story, but a little recent story is I had a client who was not even comfortable with telling me about the number of beds and baths and where they wanted to be located.
And you're the realtor.
Right.
And you're the realtor.
So I had to start way back with this person, but it only took that first conversation.
Right.
We've had conversations since then, and she has now warmed up to me.
Sometimes they have to get comfortable.
They do.
Right. They have to get comfortable.
They do.
With you.
And I was
it's a comfort level.
It is.
It's a comfort level.
And I was a little surprised by that because you know it was a referral.
Yes.
So I was thinking, okay, well, she already knows about me and she knows I'm good and she knows I'm not asking invasive questions. I'm asking important questions. But she didn't quite see it that way.
Right.
the first conversation.
But you have to get if you have somebody, maybe they have talked to a couple of different realtors or they've talked to a couple of different lenders, and sometimes it depends on how that person is actually responding to them, and sometimes it could be the tone in their voice or how they're answering their questions determines on how comfortable that person feels with you, because sometimes I get that too. I get a person that says, wow, you really answer all my questions, or wow, you're really open, and at that point they say, well, I really want to go with you, or I like the way that you handle me. And once you've built that relationship, it's all about relationship building. So yes, truly, of course, Jack.
Truly. So with that relationship building, once I get some credit information, maybe some income information, I may find out if they have had any past issues with their credit, have they looked at their credit report? So there are lots of things that I try to gather ahead of time. And then I let them know that I will be sharing that with the lender when I send the introductory email. So the introductory email does a couple of things. It kind of gives Barbara a heads up on some things, but it also tells the client what documents or documentation Barbara is going to need to start the pre-approval process. So I actually have developed a template that has all of that information in there. And so there are about, I would say, maybe 6 things that Barbara asks for, and it's probably what the average or the typical loan officer or lender asks for also. So that would include 2 years of taxes, W-2s, and their federal taxes, and also 2 pay stubs, or at least 30 days of pay stubs. For some people that would be 4. And then 2 months worth of bank statements. And of course their ID, that's very important.
She knows more than most realtors. Look at that.
Yeah, their ID.
She knows more than most realtors.
And then also, and that's because I had a great teacher, and that's exactly why. And so also if they have a student loan, that's important to know. Because sometimes they'll think that, well, that's something that I did back when I was in college many years ago, and it doesn't matter, but it does if you still have one. And then, of course, if you have a 401k or some type of retirement program that you're in, so a statement from that. So those are the basic things. I do believe I've caught them all. And so I say to them in the email to gather these documents before you actually click on this button that I also include in the email. And the button says apply now. It's a red, pinkish kind of button. People have often missed that recently. People have missed that little button. So they'll call me back and say, well, I've gathered it now. What do I do? So I point out to them in the email, it's right there. Apply now. Click apply now. And that's okay, because everybody, people are nervous. People, are busy. Things are going on. So as the person that I am,
probably wondering, where is that apply now button coming from?
That's a good point.
They're probably wondering, where is that button coming from?
That's a good point. So perhaps what I need to do, because that's relatively new that I've had a couple people call me back and say that they don't know what to do. And so, even though I do believe, and I'd have to look back at my own email, Barbara, just to check, that it says that the documents will be downloaded into this system called Octane. And I've never actually seen Octane, Barbara, but I love it.
She probably
For the
won't see
reason-
Octane.
Yeah, I probably won't, unless I were to apply with you
That's
for
my
a mortgage.
unless she applies
right,
with me.
right. But I know how those sites work, and it gives the client a security, or a sense of security rather, that these documents are being downloaded to a secure encrypted site. And
She's
that's why I
downloading to
really-
my site.
That's right. And that's
She's
why I
attached
really
to
like
my
that.
email,
Yes.
only Jackie.
Mhm.
She's attached to my email, my apply now. So it's my email embedded when Jackie sends it out. So when you get it, it's my email. You hit apply now. You're downloaded into my encrypted site, into my system, so that you can upload all your documents and apply into my site and apply for a loan.
Mhm. And one of the most important pieces that I add is that Barbara is not going to call you, email you, contact you until after you have actually submitted all of the documents as requested, and then also start the application.
Yes.
Start the application. So, and I really want to make that point to them because she's busy, she's working with many clients, and she's not going to really have time to just reach out. Sometimes people aren't as serious as they start out to be, and so that's a sense of, yes, they're serious.
Right.
And I'm always very pleased, of course, when we speak on a Monday, and by Tuesday, they have already submitted their documents, and then I let them know in the email also when I'm speaking with them that they actually have, within 24 to 48 hours, they will have that pre-approval from Barbara. That's something that I've been able to definitely say with 100% guarantee she's able to get that done.
Once they've hit that apply now, they showed me that they are serious and they've gone through that application process. And even if they haven't finished or they've uploaded some of the documents, because not all the time can you totally complete out an application. At that point, I may go ahead and give you a call and I'll help you finish the application. Or even if you email me, because by that time, Jackie has already given you all of my information. You have my phone number, you have my email, because she's sending you the email with me on it. I see the email as she sends it to you. I see the apply now. It's within my system. So you're actually already assigned to me and in my system. You hit the apply now, you're already with me. And as long as you do and follow through, then I'm going to reach out to you anyway. And I'm going to make sure that Jackie gets what she needs, which is the pre-approval, so that she can go ahead and do what she needs. But you and I have to follow through a couple of steps, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But we just want to make sure that you're sure this is something that you want to do.
That's right. That's right. And one of the pieces that I really enjoy saying, and again, something I can say with a 100% guarantee, is that Barbara is a hands-on person. So she is going to reach out to the client and make sure that they're comfortable. She's going to review the application with them. Oftentimes I've heard that the lender or the loan officer may only have electronic relationship, if you will, with clients, and that's just not.
Yeah. You don't really talk to the lender or the loan officer.
That's right.
Right. They'll email you, yes, we have your application.
That's
I'll
right.
get back with you.
That's right.
36, 48 hours, 72 hours with the approval or not. No, I have to talk to you because I like to see where you're going. I like to see what your goals are. I like to see where you want to move. Even though Jackie's asked you those questions, I want to see where you want to move because I want to see, what is it that you're looking to do in the future? I want to know those things too. So as I'm doing your loan approval, I have an ideal in mind too, what it is that you want and what your goals are and what you want for your family. Yes. Because me and Jackie working together, that helps us help you.
Yes, definitely, definitely. As Barbara said at the beginning of this segment, it's about the relationship. So when the relationship is full circle, it really helps everything. So it works.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then that's what we enjoy the most. We enjoy helping you get what it is that you want and what you need and making sure that you stay within your boundaries.
Yes, definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
We don't want to put you out there where you shouldn't be out there. We don't want you swimming somewhere and then sinking. We want you to continue to swim.
That's right.
So therefore, we have these ongoing conversations. Sometimes we even three-way, don't we?
Yes, we have to do that.
We
Yes,
get on the phone,
yes.
all three of us, especially if a situation comes up.
Mhm.
We've had ample opportunities where things have come up and Jackie or I on the phone, we're like, okay, let's call the client,
That's
Jackie.
right.
Let's get on the phone with the client.
That's right.
We get on the phone with the client, we're like, okay, the seller's realtor has come back. This is something that's going on. We are talking this through. We're having a three-way conversation. We need to know what you want to do. But here are your options.
Mhm.
From the lender point of view, from this real estate point of
That's
view.
right.
Here are your options. Here's some advice, but here are your options. And we'll do a three-way call.
Definitely. And we want to make sure that the client is hearing that we, both Barbara and I, are on the same page.
Yes.
And now we're getting you on the same page.
And
Because
now we're getting
every
you.
once in a while, I do have to say that it has seemed like maybe it wasn't the intention, but it seemed like maybe the client knew something that Barbara told them, but when I came back to ask about that specific thing, because I'm pretty sure this is where we are in the conversation now, they didn't quite remember. So I take it as they're too busy, things are going on, they're new to this process, because, that's just how I like to handle things. And then I say, okay, enough time has been wasted.
Absolutely.
And so let's get them on the phone.
Let's get. One thing you can rest assured, if I know it, Jackie knows it. Whatever's going on in that loan process, if I know it, Jackie knows it. Therefore, you know it.
And that's because the client has already given permission for all of that information to be shared.
Yes.
Which is also very
Yes,
important.
and we ask that up front.
Yes.
Because we want to make sure that everything is full circle. Everything is going on with your loan. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And of course, the fact that you're going to get the home that you're looking for. Because we fight for you.
That's right.
We fight for you. We fight for you no matter what. We fight for you because we want to make sure that you're going to get the home that you put a contract on, the home that you want. And we go to battle for you no matter what comes up. We do everything in our possible will to make sure that we fight for you to get that home. And if you have a lender and a real estate agent that's not communicating, and one doesn't know what the other is doing, what happens is the miscommunication.
It is.
And what normally happens then, something falls through the cracks. And then what happens? You may lose the contract.
That's right. One of my memorable moments was sitting at a closing table, Barbara, with one of the biggest realtors in Prince George's County. He has been the #1 realtor in sales volume for a while. Don't know his stats all the way, but it was so pleasing that he sat there at that closing and said to my client in front of me, "She really fought for you."
Yes.
She really did.
Yes.
And it really made me feel good
Absolutely.
to know that he said that about me. So
Absolutely. Because and I know a client, I know a realtor.
yes.
And because Jackie couldn't wait to get on the phone and call me and tell me, guess what? And the thing about it is that particular client, which I'm so proud of. I'm patting myself on the back with that one. The issue there, and those that are listening, if you've been up against this, let me just say this. We have learned so much in this area. And those of you that are listening, listen carefully. If you have student loans, call us.
Barbara
If you have student loans,
yes, definitely.
a couple of years ago, it was like taboo. If you have student loans, a lot of lenders did not even want to deal with you. But the reality of that is you can get a home with student loans. You just have to know what to do, how to position the loan, what to tell the client to do. And that's what the issue was. The person had a student loan. You go to school all these years and you rack up these student loans. You get a good job. But then you have all these student loans behind you. You get them deferred until you get the paying job that you need to start paying off these student loans. But until then, mortgage companies are telling you no. They're telling you no.
Or they're just dragging you along.
Or just dragging you along without doing the work to get you through that process.
We call it jumping through hoops. Oftentimes, there are many, many more hoops to jump through because of the student loan.
Because of the student loans.
So I try to get my clients prepared for that. And I kind of use some athletic type terms sometimes. We're going to jump through the hoop. We're going to get you across the goal. One client, and we may be talking about the same person right here, I had to let her know that when we got to the goal line, because this particular client at the end, she kind of crumbled on us a little bit, and she said she was ready to stop.
She was ready to stop.
And I said, that is not going to happen. If I have to be at that closing table and Barbara have to be at that closing table and you're not there, then it's not going to happen. So we're not going to let that happen. If I have to come pick you up and carry you in to the closing, I will do that. So then it got a little rougher, and something else came up before the end, and I told her, okay, we're all kind of, because it was a long transaction before we got to closing, but we did it. So I said to her, this is how we're going to do it. You're going to pick me up and take me across the line. I'm going to pick up Barbara and take her across the line, and Barbara's going to pick you up and take you across the line. And what that means, all three of us will be there
at the finish line. And we did it.
And we did
it. We did it. We did it. It was a vision. It was a goal.
Yes.
And we did it.
Yes.
So the way we did the loan, and that was a learning curve for Jackie and I. But we were able to do that and get her across the finish line. And once we did that, anybody with student loans that came to us, it was boom, 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 boom. We would get people across the finish line when no other lenders wanted to deal with people with student loans. So I don't know what they're doing now, but when we get somebody with a student loan, I look at them, boom, 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 we're getting them across the finish line. So just learn your lenders, ask them the appropriate questions. We're telling you here, it's okay to ask questions. So we are just so excited that you are here with us today. We're going through the pre-approval process. You heard Jackie's part of it. Jackie does a lot for me at the very beginning. I'm so grateful to that because she takes a lot off of me at the very beginning. When we come back, we're going to continue with this pre-approval process. I'm going to tell you some of the things that you need to continue with this process. So stay tuned. We got more for you to come. Don't go anywhere.
It is key that you mind your mental health.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing this week?
Hi.
Use the 5 keys to mental movement.
This week has been a really monumental week for me. I realized that I was not being myself.
Reaching out.
Be positive attitude person self, like you guys know me to be.
Staying upbeat.
And give back to that happy, cheery self you guys of me.
This week's been kind of
Being
stressful,
creative.
all of the workload that we have on online learning. So I've been trying to use different platforms and different websites to help ease my mind and ease my stress.
And what about you, Marjorie?
Well, you guys know me. I just love to work with others and serve them.
Serving others.
Is that when I serve others, my mind is off of myself.
That's right. And don't forget, self-care is key.
Self-care.
All right. So see you guys next week.
Right.
Bye.
Your mind matters.
Okay, so welcome back. And as you know, we are reviewing the pre-approval process today. And Barbara, I recently thought of something and thinking about how this process goes for our clients. It seems like, and you correct me if I'm wrong, like the pre-approval process is like a physical exam for your finances. I know that you look at so many things. I know you look at so many things, Barbara. They feel like they've been through a physical exam.
A physical exam
for the finances.
Physical exam for the finances. You know what, Jackie? If you think about it, I guess it is like a physical exam. We're looking at every little thing for your finances, right? Making sure that it works.
That's right.
That sounds good. Wait a minute. You need to physical exam for your.
I don't know that I can
Ain't it
coin
on your
it.
email?
I don't know that I can coin it, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I have to make sure. I
finance.
have to make sure it's
What-
not
what-
something that I picked up somewhere.
You let us know. Email us and let us know if Jackie should put that on her email. The physical exam for your finances you need to send in.
Okay, I will do that. Because
Okay.
that's going back and forth between our clients.
And then we're going to see if anybody takes it.
So, yeah, okay, all right.
But it's Jackie. You heard it here. So for the physical exam, the first thing that you're going to need is you're going to need the proof of income. And Jackie said it at the beginning. So your proof of income will be things like, and she said it, you need 30 days worth of income, which would be like your pay stubs. And I'm going to talk a generalization here. Okay, so I haven't gotten into like the self-employed borrower because we're going to do a whole segment on self-employment. So for you self-employed borrowers out there, just hold on because that's a whole segment in itself. You wouldn't give me 30 days worth of pay stubs, okay? Unless you're a self-employed borrower that's paying themselves. So you can look at this right now, but there's a caveat to that. So I don't want to take away from that.
Mhm.
So let's talk about somebody who works for somebody else, okay? Not a self-employed borrower.
Right.
Okay, so we need 30 days worth of pay stubs. So you will send that in. You will also send me your last 2 years of your W-2s, okay? The last 2 current years. So right now, we are in 2021, so I would need 2019 and 2020 of your W-2s. So I would need that to look at your income. The next thing I would need is 2 years of taxes. Not all the time do I need 2 years of taxes, but I do like to look at 2 years of taxes. And I'm going to tell you why I like to look at 2 years of taxes, because there are a lot of people that do work for someone and they do a little bit of self-employment on the side.
Mhm.
A little bit of self-employment on the side. And a lot of times I don't find that out until we request what's called your 4506T. And your 4506T is giving us permission, which we request.
Keep going, sorry.
We request all the time during the pre-approval process. And that's a transcript of your taxes. So if you're doing something like, I don't know, Mary Kay,
Mhm.
Avon, or a consultant business, you don't consider yourself
You're a
self-employed.
chef and
Yeah, you're just sole proprietor or something,
That's
right? But then you take a loss. You take a loss. Maybe you do a Schedule C
right. Mhm.
and you're taking a loss. Guess what? I have to subtract that from your income. I have to subtract that. And then I don't find that out until your 4506T comes in. So I like to know that up front. So along with your W-2s, I ask for your 2 years of taxes. But you were going to say something.
I was just going to say, and you said it, that it's the tax transcript from the IRS.
That's a tax transcript from the IRS.
Because I didn't always know what the 45.
A lot of people don't know what
so
that
I didn't
is.
always know. So
A
anyway.
lot of people, yeah. And you can go on the IRS.gov and you can pull your own tax transcript. But that just shows us that you actually did your own taxes.
Mhm.
Really, that's what that is, right? So we just get proof that the taxes that you send me are the taxes that you sent in to Uncle Sam. So there's no way, no how getting around that.
Because as they say, it will all come out in the wash.
It'll all
at
come out
the end.
in the end. It'll all come out in the wash. There's no way, no how getting around that.
Right.
So I asked for the 2 years of taxes. So as far as your income, those are the things I look at. If you're retired, I ask you for your pension statement. The beginning of the year, you'll get a 1099, a Social Security statement, or a pension statement. You normally get at the beginning of the year. So save those things. A lot of people don't know where to find those things, and they go online. They try to download, what they get month to month. The beginning of the year, the government sends that to you. Save it, put it in a file. Anything the government sends you, you should always save those things. You never know if you're going to need to refinance, or if you're going to help one of your loved ones, your children, grandchildren buy a home, and you need that. It's a hassle trying to go back and find those documents. Trust me, it is a hassle. So beginning of the year, when those documents are sent to you, try to save those documents. They're sent to you at the beginning of every year, and you get a yearly increase. And believe it or not, we can tack on 15 to 25% onto that, for your income. So save those documents. So I'll ask for those for income and disability. A lot of people get disability. I can use the disability income, and we could tack on 25% for the disability income as well. So save those documents, and for VA, things like that.
What
Save
about
those
things like
documents.
alimony, child support?
Alimony, child support. Now the things with alimony, child support, I can use that only if I have documentation, a court order that shows you will continue to receive it for the next 3 years.
Mm.
Okay, so you have to be able to receive it for the next 3 years. So I will ask for all those type of documentation, and you can use all of that for income. Okay, the next thing is proof of assets. Okay, you can send me like investment statements, the 401k statements, you can send me CDs, stocks, whatever you have for proof of assets. Now, that does not mean I'm asking you to liquidate those. What that is, the assets just shows that just in case something happens, say you lose your job, or you know, God forbid you lose your job, but they just want to see that maybe you have something somewhere that if something happens, you have somewhere to go and you can liquidate something to maybe to continue to pay your mortgage. And again, depending on what situation you're in, you're a second-time home buyer or whatever, you can show that as reserves. You may need to have 2 months worth of reserves or 3 months worth of reserves. It doesn't have to be liquid. It could be in an asset statement. It could be a CD. It could be in a mutual fund. It can be in a money market account. It could be in a 401k. So we'll look at your assets. First-time home buyers normally don't have to have that. Okay, so I'll ask if you have any type of assets. And a lot of times, if you're an investment buyer, we'll need to see those, you know, you might want to be using that for a down payment. Okay, so the bank statements and the 401ks, things like that, if you're going to use it for down payment, I need to see those. But sometimes it's just used for reserves.
Well, we have a question.
What's the
I
question?
cannot believe it. Hello there. We have someone from
Okay.
Silver Spring, and
Okay.
they would like to know, when you just use the word liquid, what does that mean exactly?
That means you can easily get to the cash. So say, for instance, you have money in a savings or a checking account, and you can go to the bank, and a brick and mortar bank, and you can draw the money out, cash. So that means that's liquid funds. You can easily get to the funds. If the funds is in a 401k statement, that's not liquid. You have to literally fill out paperwork, and you have to wait for the funds to clear and probably pay some type of fee to get the funds. So what we're looking for is, if you're going to use for a down payment, we want to see if you have liquid funds or funds in a 401k. Either way, for a down payment, you can use any of those type of funds. We would just need to see the documentation, what it will take for you to receive the funds.
I know sometimes people thought that they could get the funds in maybe 2 or 3, 4 days.
No.
Excuse me. And then they found out later that once they actually applied for the funds, that it was going to take 2 weeks.
It's going to take longer.
And so that means extension.
Well, but
sometimes.
what I do is, if I see that you're for down payment and you want to take funds out of your 401k, I ask for the documentation that tells me how you take the funds out, and that gives us the time frame and everything. So if that time frame says it's going to take up to 2 weeks, I says, well, then you need to go ahead and you need to apply for that now. So you have to send me the documentation prior to you taking the funds. Then you have to send me the documentation after you take the funds out, because I need to see the before, during, and the after. Okay?
Tracking that money.
We have to track the money, and then I have to see it going into your bank account. I'll have to see the bank account that the money was deposited in, and then see the 401k showing that the money came out of the 401k. So we track every dollar.
Every dollar.
Same thing is a gift. If a family member gives you a gift, we have to see where the money's coming from. So we're going to have to see the bank account that the gift is coming from. So yes, we get into your family's bank account, and we have to see that they have the money to give the gift that you don't have to pay back. So therefore, we have to see that that money is sourced and seasoned, meaning 2 months, it's been sitting in their account, doesn't look like it's going to hurt them, and they're giving you the money. We see it transferring into your account. So we have to see their account, and we have to see it going into your account. So we're getting into other people's business, right? Jackie has a saying. When people ask us, well, why do they need all of that? That's our business. Why are they asking? And I always say, well, you know, these are the guidelines and this, and then I call Jackie and I say, Jackie, a client wants to know why are we asking all I'm gonna let you handle that, Jackie, because I like the way you say it and you need to get it across. And then I let Jackie give them the phone call. And then Jackie will say,
most of the time, I have to say, and this is if they are specifically if they are using a well, gift is one thing, but if you're using a down payment assistance, so they make you jump through hoops for that. So I say to them, if you know of anyone who's going to give you 3%, which would be $9,000 on a $300,000 home, $15,000, whatever it's going to be. And they're not going to ask you to jump through hoops and do all kinds of things to get that money. Please, when you get it, you let me know who they are so I can do the same thing. Because more than likely, that's not going to happen.
Yep.
So, and then they settle down.
and then they call me back.
That's right.
What do you need, Barbara?
That's right. Because they know that if they don't have that additional support, they're not going to be able to close on that home and their dream is not going to be seen.
Absolutely.
So once they kind of get that through their head, they're like, okay, you're right. Let me do what I need to do.
See, I always let Jackie handle that for me because I'm the lender. I'm the one giving the money, and I don't want to be the one to say, look, we're loaning you the money. I'm sorry, we got to make you, we have got, because I'm going to give you the actual guideline terminology, but Jackie will give you the common sense. So I always send Jackie back. I always send the client back to Jackie and let Jackie handle that aspect of it. And I thank her for that because then they come back and, okay, Barbara, okay, another document, Barbara. Okay, you need that document again. Yes, I do need that. What did Jackie say? And then and then everything works out fine. So everybody listening out there, just understand. We may ask you for a document again and again and
that
again.
normally doesn't happen with you, Barbara.
It doesn't happen that often.
No.
But sometimes if a document right before closing, if a document is, say for instance, we close, but one of the documents you gave me is outside of the closing date.
That's right.
I may need another document, right?
Like
and people be like,
stub.
oh yeah, pay stub, like a pay
bank-
stub.
or
But pay
bank
stubs are
statement.
every 2 weeks.
Right.
Or a bank statement.
Right.
But I already gave you 2. I know, but I may need another one. So the next thing we're going to need is credit. We look at your credit. So we talked about credit, so I won't go through credit. So we look at your credit scores, and we go through all of that. The next thing, of course, is your employment. We want to see 2 years worth of employment. Now, even though we want to see 2 years worth of employment, if you start a new job, if we have an employment letter, we will use the employment letter, but we will do verifications on the employment letter. So you can have a new job, and we will look at the employment letter and we will see what you have made. Now, if you had a previous job, but then you got a new job with a higher income, we will go back 2 years and then we will average your new income in there. So we will work it out where your new income and your new employment letter that we get, we will use that, but we will average your past 2 years in there. Also, if you get bonuses or overtime, the only way we will use your overtime is if you're in the same field for the past 2 years. So let's say a nurse, and you move to another nursing organization. We'll use it for 2 years.
Is that overtime or is that if
Overtime.
they had a second job? That's overtime also.
Overtime.
Okay.
In overtime and a second job. So nursing is with another nursing agency, and they start a new nursing agency. We will use that because it's the same field. If it's a different field, we can't use it. Okay?
And that's just not Cardinal Financial.
That's the law.
in general,
Yeah,
yes.
in general. In general. If it's the same field, we can use it. If it's a different field, we won't use it. It has to be 2 years consecutive. That's the only way that we can use overtime, and bonuses have to be 2 years consecutive. We can use your bonuses. Okay? Other than that, we cannot use your bonuses. Okay? Because everything has to be 2 years. Right? Okay, and then there's other documentation that we need, like Jackie said, your driver's license. Normally, I ask people to send a copy of their social security card so that I can get their social security number. But if you've already hit the apply now button and you've already put your social security number in there and you sent me a copy of your driver's license, or you can send me a passport, copy of a government ID with a picture. So sometimes a passport or a driver's license, but you've also sent me your W-2s. I can use the picture ID and I can use the W-2s, and you already uploaded your social security number. I won't ask you for your social security card, but I do need to see your government your government ID with your picture on it. And then I would also like your social security card, or for you to have already uploaded your social security number. A lot of times people don't like to give out their social security number or email their social security number. So I'll talk to you in other ways that you can get your social security number to me if you don't want to email it.
Okay.
And you have not already uploaded it. Because a lot of times I'll talk to clients, if they don't have don't feel like going online and filling out the application, I will get on the phone with you and I'll talk and I'll enter your information in the application. So that's another thing that you can do with me. If you say, I'm just not good with that kind of stuff, let me know. I'll call you. I'll get online, do the information, and then you can email me all the documentation and I will upload the documentation for you. So that's another thing that we can also do.
I told you, she's excellent.
So now I want to kind of move on because I want to talk something about pre-qualification versus pre-approval.
Yes.
This is very important.
It really is. It
Very
really
important.
is. And may I just start off by saying, especially for me, Barbara, as the realtor, when I'm working with buyers and we are trying to get an offer, and my education as a realtor, just within the last six and a half years, I was told that the pre-qualification letter is not as strong as the pre-approval.
Correct.
And so that can bring some issues sometimes. And so let's figure out what the differences are between those two things.
Okay. It can go from lender to lender. Pre-qualification letters. A lot of lenders, pre-qualification letters, some lenders, they could just type up letters, okay? And they can put pre-qualification or they can put pre-approval, right? They can go in the system, they can interchangeably do that. In my system, they come out as pre-qualification letters. But the only way I get that pre-qualification letter is if I have already pulled the credit. I've already put the documentation that I need in the system. Okay, it's a pre-qualification letter.
Is that system Octane?
That system is Octane, and nobody else uses that system. The Octane was designed by our engineers, by us, but it's from all the other systems that is used, the intelligence of the other systems that is used in the mortgage world. Now, a lot of realtors don't like that word pre-qualification, but this is what...
And it's because of what we learned.
Because of what you learned.
Yes, that's right.
So I can't change it to pre-approval, but we have in our system that we can use pre-approval, and we are running out of time here, so I want to make sure I get a little bit of some of this in for you too, before I end up on some things. What I do, I get all my clients' information. I don't worry about a pre-qualification. My letter's going to say pre-qualification, but what I do is what's called the automatic underwriting system. I get all your documentation, I input it into the system. Once I input it into the system, I go into my automatic underwriting system. That means I am sending it to an approval system, and I am generating an automatic approval for you. And when I send it to that realtor, they're getting my pre-qualification, they're getting my automatic approval, along with my pre-qualification. There's nothing better than that. But when we come back, I'm going to end this up for you. I'm going to explain to you why there's nothing better than that. So I want you to stay tuned. I got some last final things to end this up, and we will be done with the pre-approval process. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Tania McQueen. I'm the Residential Services Manager for Prestige Community Resources. What our new facilities are respite centers. We're opening 2 in the city right now. Hopefully we'll expand to more. But respite centers are a place where people can come and get a little additional support with their mental health. Our one on Eastern Avenue is for men, and our one on Minnesota Avenue is for women. Our facilities are for all DC residents, especially focusing in on those in Ward 7 and 8. So they're really nice, and I'm excited for consumers to actually see them. What are the services that we're going to provide? Therapy, case management, medication management, all provided by professional staff, a licensed nurse practitioner, psychiatrists, sociologists, social workers, and then our paraprofessionals, our case managers. It's just a place where you can come and get the supports that you need to work on your personal goals, as well as to get your mental health straight. Simple, single adult, 18 years of age or older, a DC resident. You need to have insurance, but if you don't have it, it's okay. Still come, we'll work on getting you insurance. Have to have a negative COVID test, a negative TB test, and be willing to work on your mental health. For more information about respite services, you can contact us at 202-796-5000 or hit us up on our website at www.prestigecommunityresources.org.
Okay, so we're back, and Barbara was just talking about getting the clients pre-approved and using a system that helps them to know that they are actually pre-approved, although their letter will say that they are pre-qualified.
They are pre-qualified.
And there is a difference in that, and I love it because there's some lenders who will only have a pre-qualification letter, and I know on the other end, when I send that in with the offer, people have said in our industry, Barbara, that it's not worth the paper it's written on.
That's right. Yeah.
And so Barbara's company, Cardinal Financial, they're excellent. They have that extra little support system in there that allows them to have the actual automatic underwriting.
The automatic underwriting, yes.
Wonderful.
And the thing about it is you can ask your lender, can you do, well, realtors, this is to the realtors. Mm-hmm. You can ask the lender, well, my client, can you give us an automatic underwriting approval? Well, that just depends. What information did they get from your client? Are they, when they send you a pre-approval, the pre-approval means that they've collected a full credit report, they've collected all the income docs, they've collected the employment information, they've collected the asset information, they may have verified the employment information, they may have verified some of the things on here. It just depends. But like I said, there are some situations where you can change some of that stuff. You can change the pre-qualification. You can change the pre-approval. Now, we have in our system, I can set up, I'm doing a pre-qualification, or I can set up, I'm doing a pre-approval. Now, if I do a pre-approval in my system, that's saying I'm setting everything up and I'm literally sending it to my underwriter. Now, that may take a couple of days. Okay, but what I'm doing is I'm collecting all my documentation, because Jackie told you, she asked for it up front. I tell you, I collect it. I put it all in my system. I calculate everything. I look at the W-2s. I told you I asked for the taxes to see if there's businesses. I look at everything and I input it into my system. Then I run what's called, either depending on whether I'm taking them conventional, whether I'm taking them FHA, even if I'm taking them USDA. Yes. And that's another thing we'll talk about, because a lot of people don't know about USDA, and that's going to be our secrets. We're not telling too many people about that. But I decide whether or not I am going to, what system, AUS system, I'm going to run that into, whether I'm taking them
AUS, automatic underwriting.
Automatic underwriting system, okay. Yes. So I make that decision, what I'm going to do. So normally I input all the information and I look and I see if it comes out approve eligible. Approve eligible. So if it says approve eligible, that means that everything that that person gave me, that automatic underwriting system, whether it's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, which I'm sure all of you have heard about, FHA, Federal Housing Authority. You guys have all heard those terms before. That means it's ran through their system and they said, yes, they're approving our system. And if that's what that means, when I send that to my underwriters, as long as all that documentation that I have collected is factual, that's already approved. So I can't even send that to my underwriters unless I've already ran that. I have to have already done that before I even send it to my underwriters. Because even when I send it to my underwriters with the documentation, guess what? They run it again. They run it again. And then they go in and they give it the conditional approval. And once I get the conditional approval, you get the commitment. And then there may be a couple other things that they need, like the appraisal, the title, and maybe another couple of documentations that they need from the client. But you have the approval. So when I have a realtor that asks me for a pre-qualification, they don't have to worry about my letter that says pre-qualification. I'm automatically giving them my AUS approval. And I tell them, they come back and they say, well, can I get a pre-approval letter? And I say, other than Jackie, I say, I already gave it to you. Well, no, your letter says pre-qualification. I said, do you see the AUS approval that I gave you? That's better than a letter that says pre-approval that I could have just typed up the word pre-approval. I've already given you an automatic underwriting system approval, which a lot of lenders will not give you the AUS approval right up front just for you to get a contract. Then if they don't get the contract, they come back and they say, well, we have another house. I go in and put the information in for the other house. I run the AUS on that house. I send a pre-qualification for that house. I send the AUS for that particular house. So each time they put a contract on the house, I send the pre-qualification letter and the AUS approval for each individual house. So there's no guessing. I don't just send one approval and one AUS. Each AUS is to that particular home. And when the seller's agent looks at it, they can see the price. They can see is it single family, is it condominium, is it investment, is it this, is it that. They can see exactly what it is. And they can see that this is the AUS approval for that particular home. So they already know, well, this has been automatically underwritten already. Only thing they gotta do is get the contract and the appraisal and the title and hey, we're done. Okay? So pre-qualification versus pre-approval. When you go to a lender and you're getting a pre-qualification or pre-approval letter, you can ask them, do you put us in automatic underwriting? So therefore, we don't have to go out here, get a contract, and then later find we cannot get the home.
That's right.
Because there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through, right?
A lot.
If you get the contract and then something comes out that you can't. Now, I'm not saying that things don't come out even after you get the underwriting approval, because that depends on if there's something that's hidden that could not be found in the automatic underwrites. And those are things I don't know. But I'll tell you, we'll talk about some of the mistakes that are done, that may come out. Like some of the things that Jackie and I, we've written down, some of the things for you not to do. Okay?
Listen, please.
Listen.
Listen, please.
Now, I've gotten you to automatic underwriting, right? It may take 30 to 45 days for you to get the home. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks. Let's hope and pray that 2 weeks you wouldn't have done these things. But 30, 45 days you might have. One of the things, don't go out and get any more credit.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's one of the things I really try to say to them ahead of time. But I know I'm giving them a lot of information, and that might actually go over their head.
Might go over their head.
So it's something that I mentioned throughout our process together,
right,
to make sure that they haven't done anything additional. Some of our clients, Barbara, have had a little leeway.
Mm-hmm.
If they opened up a small line, they had a little leeway.
But
But
don't
some
do
people, debt to income ratio, it was right there.
But-
and it would blow.
Don't
Right.
do it at all.
I agree. Don't do it.
Because
at
we
all.
have to redo things all over.
That's right.
Don't do it at
That's
all.
right.
I'm saying don't no leeway,
Don't
no
do it.
nothing.
Don't
Don't
do it.
open nothing. Nothing. I don't care what kind of leeway you think you had. Don't open nothing
That's
during the mortgage process. Okay? What are some of the other things?
What about changing a job?
Definitely don't do that.
Because you already said you need to have a history.
You need to have a history. And if you change the job in the middle, the process stops right there. Don't change your job. I don't care if you get a letter. I don't care what you do, because you know what? We have to have 2 pay stubs. 2 pay stubs
For the 30 days.
for the 30 days.
Mhm.
And if it's a 30-day pay stub, we have to wait 30 days.
Right.
If it's a weekly pay stub, we have to wait 30 days. Don't change your job.
Barbara, this wasn't, you were not the lender, but I actually had a situation where a client unfortunately lost the job. And in losing the job, the process had to start all over. Nobody knew, but he was able to recover that thing, and that loan closed.
And the loan closed. But those are some of the things you don't do.
That's right.
And the main thing is ask questions, ask questions,
Yes.
ask questions.
Barbara and I both have 2 ears. So we have 4 ears altogether. Ask questions. We're listening.
Ask questions, ask questions.
Okay, so we are at the end of our hour, Barbara.
We are at the end of our
That
hour.
went quickly. And I think we still have a few more things. Or are
I
we
think
pretty
that we
much
have
done?
given everything that you need to know for the pre-approval process,
Okay.
Jackie.
All righty, then we are done with that. We are done with that. And as things come up later, I guess we'll come back and revisit.
Yes.
So what we love about doing our show is that we are here for you on a monthly basis, every couple of weeks, to share this information, because as you can see, we're both passionate about this
Yes.
information. And we want to make sure that you have the power to purchase. You understand your power to purchase.
So that you can be home buyer ready.
Yes.
See you in 2. Take care.
Bye.